Welcome everybody, Level M Diecast bringing you Matchbox review today. This is mix number 4 for 2024. This is the D case. It's a decent sized case. It does include a chase if you are lucky enough to grab a super chase. 2019 Fiat 500 Turbo. This one in kind of a pale orange. Very interesting looking color. It does come with the small 6 spokes. So we'll see how that orange stacks up when we crack them out of the blister. Next one up, this is the Polaris Ranger. This is number 7 of 100. This was a new casting last year in black. This is a new color in white. So it's a pretty good casting. I like the, Matchbox is doing some of this weird, recreational type of vehicles. Next one up, 10 of 100, 48 Jeep, Willys Jeepster. This one has been in just basic colors its whole life. We just get average colors for it, but I think that's perfectly fine. It doesn't need to be anything super outlandish, but it's an interesting model nonetheless. Yes, the return of the Rivian, the R1T, number 17 of 100. This one in kind of a deep forest green color. So pretty happy to see this one come back, getting another deco on it. It was a new casting previously in blue, which is pretty cool. All right, brand spanking new casting, number 19 of 100. This is the 68 Chevy C10. You do have your little medallion up there to show that it is a brand spanking new casting for 2024. Be pretty eager to get that out of there. The card art looks fantastic. The model itself doesn't look as good as the card art, but it still looks pretty good. I'll be interesting to see how that looks outside of the blister. All right, our first recolor of the AutoZam AZ1, number 24 of 100. This is in red. Did debut in blue, so just the second time we're seeing this particular casting. I do anticipate this will be used at least every year for a while. Maybe seen some 5-packs or something pop up, but time will tell how they utilize that. All right, brand spanking new casting, another one for the case. Porsche 911 Targa S. I'm sorry, Targa 4. This is number 30 of 100. This one is basically the exact same casting that came in the A case as the convertible, the Cabriolet, but it's just the hardtop. So this one looks pretty good. It should reflect that on the base. That is a new casting entirely, though. All right, number 72 of 100. This is the Mercedes-Benz AMG SL63. This was a brand new casting last year. This model debuted those new lace-style wheels last year. It also carries those lace wheels this year. The card art looks absolutely fantastic, and those wheels match that Mercedes Primo perfect. And it's a really good casting itself, too. Last year in blue was pretty nice in blue. All right, last one in the standard mix. This is the Karma GS6. We've seen a couple colors for this. It's also been in 5-pack earlier this year. This one in kind of a ash gray, I guess maybe is a good way to put it. Number 91 of 100. That is the last one in the standard mix. Now, if you are fortunate enough to pull a super chase, there is a BMW 3 Series wagon chase. Unfortunately, I don't have the chase quite yet, but there is the chase. So you might be lucky enough to find yourself one on the pegs. But let's crack these open and take a look. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to kick this off with our Polaris Ranger. Like I said, this was a brand new casting last year. Did debut in a black color with some details on the side. This one in white, gray base and gray interior, gray topper on there as well. The interior details look pretty good. This one gets additional Tampo print in the front, which is pretty nice. I think that really helps with the casting itself. Kind of bring out some details in there. It's like I said, it's kind of cool that Matchbox does some of these recreational vehicles, which is all right. Which I don't like they do. Always trying to hit that tail light with the side pass just doesn't work for me. It just doesn't wrap around anything like that. As it comes around, you can't see it from the back. So it's kind of a pointless, kind of mute kind of point to do that. So other than that, it's a pretty decent casting. Again, it's only 1 year old basically, so don't want to hate on it too much. All right, next one up, this is the Willys Jeepster. This one is pretty good. This casting's been around for a few years. We've seen quite a few decos for this one thus far. It's been reissued a couple of times as well, using some recycled decos. Obviously, this is a brand new version here in blue. Does have full front and rear decos on there. Pretty standard stuff. Nothing's really changed much with this model. It's also sported the same kind of wheels its whole life, the disc hub wheels, which I think is fine. Works perfectly good. Matches the model. The details on the back are pretty decent as well with the spare tire and stuff like that in there. Just a little bit of prints for the plate says Willys, and then a couple of taillight prints on there. So nothing too fancy. Relatively low key. All right, this one should be a pretty good hit for most people. Brand spanking new casting, 1968 Chevy C10. It's okay. It's okay. I don't mind Matchbox jumping into the C10 craze. I think it's great. We have more Chevy trucks coming this year. It's not just this one. But this one looks pretty good. I love the print in the front. That's that really nice, high-quality inkjet style printing. You know, printing that we typically get on a little bit more expensive stuff like real working rigs. This model, unfortunately, suffers the same catastrophe as most trucks, as the majority of the bed is plastic and it's part of the interior. The Chevrolet there on the back as well, that is just a flat print. There's no embossment or nothing in the casting, which is a little unfortunate. But, you know, at least they get the prints on there. I do worry at, you know, later versions of this, if we don't get rear prints on there, it won't quite work right. And it's just a little bit loss of, you know, that possibility of getting the embossment in there during the casting process. Does use the disc hub wheels, which I think is great. It has a white base, gray interior. It's a very interesting color. It's a little bit lighter than it shows on the screen. Just a little bit lighter color. As far as the base details go, Matchbox man number 1430, 1968 Chevy C10. There is all the base deeds. Brand spanking new casting. Just a 4x2. Looks good though. Looks good. It's a good amount of detail on the base. Not a huge amount of detail, but pretty good amount of detail. All right, moving on to not the same, but similar. This is the Rivian R1T, the electric truck, the electric modern day truck. This one looks pretty good. This one is, you know, the casting's a little bit small. I mean, the Rivian's a relatively decent sized truck in real life. Matchbox did a really good job of getting all the details right on it, though. I just think the casting's just a little bit small, but it does look good. It did debut in blue, so blue was a pretty nice one, but this one is much better. This has some dark kind of black chrome for the foil print on the wheels. Looks fantastic. The green color is fantastic. The front and rear decos are fantastic as well. They do have a little bit of that wraparound taillight bar in the back, but it works. It works perfectly fine. I do really like this casting. They did a good job. It's just a little bit small. Just some Rivian in the back there. Wasn't quite focusing white, so I wanted to showcase that for you guys just real quick. All right, moving on to something that is significantly smaller in real life. The Fiat 500 Turbo. This one looks pretty good. I do like the fact that it's solid windows all the way around. Doesn't have open windows. Typically with most cars, most of the windows are open. So that's just kind of a cool little detail with this particular casting. The small six spokes are perfect for this casting. They've always looked fantastic. I don't think any other wheel really in the fleet will match this casting just due to its size. Full front and rear tampos on there. Looks good. Pretty basic, straightforward. I mean, every single version of this Fiat's been the same with just the same prints front and back. But it looks good. You know, 500 on the plate. The orange is a pretty nice color too. It's a little bit glossier than I thought it'd be out of the blister. It looked a little bit more kind of dull, a little bit more matte, you know, kind of pastel kind of shade to the orange. But it's a pretty good one nonetheless. All right, moving on to a car that's even smaller than the Fiat, significantly. K-car, as a matter of fact. The AutoZam AZ1. I've only seen one of these cars in real life one time, and it was tiny. It was so small that even if I had the opportunity to try to get into it, I would not try to get into it. Because if I did get into it, I'd never get out of it. Such a small little car. It does have gull wing doors, which is kind of cool. You know, Matchbox loves to do the weird stuff. And, you know, Matchbox is slowly getting into the whole JDM thing, you know, even though they're way late to the game. But they do pick some very obscure models to do. And I think the AZ1 was a great addition for them to do. There's great details on this casting. I think the red one's better than blue, but we'll see what other decos they have down the pipeline. Probably just have some basic decos for a while, but this does have lensed headlights too, which is cool. We don't often see that in castings as well, but that seems to be a little bit more prevalent these days as time goes on. So not a bad casting. It looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. All right, moving on to a sports car, more of a kind of a luxury tour kind of flavor. This is the Porsche 911 Targa 4. This is the same basic casting as far as the metal casting goes as the 911 Cabrio we saw earlier this year. However, the canopy piece there is different between the two. There's a couple little differences. Also, this guy does sport the chrome D10s on there versus the gold D10s that the red one sported. This casting is very nice, very proportionate, nice and white in the back. The topper looks good. I think the details look good on it. It does say Targa on the back. We'll take a look at that here in a second. But nothing too fancy. It is listed as a brand new casting. So in addition to the 911 Cabrio, this one, of course, is a brand new casting as well. There is just a little bit of the details on the back. It does say Targa 4 with the Porsche. The prints are fantastic. There is the base deets. Flip this guy around the correct way. MB1462 is the man number. Of course, Porsche Targa. Does say Porsche Targa on there to reflect. So that's pretty good. Do like the details there, like the Matchbox logo they keep putting there at the bottom. Keeping it nice and rectangular, exactly the way the Matchbox logo should be. All right, moving on to the Karma GS6. This one did debut in blue. That was the very first color we got. Was in a 5-pack earlier this year. Electric drivers 5-pack and kind of an electric green, kind of an acid green. So this is a reimagined version of the original Fisker Karma. Matchbox also did the Fisker Karma. Probably one of the coolest castings they've done in a really long time. This model does not bring that exuberance out. Of course, you know, this car itself in real life is significantly toned down from the Fisker Karma, the original one. But it has the same basic flowy lines. Full rear tampos. And then in the front, it does have some lens lights with a little bit of print on there. Again, that lens light seemed to be a little bit more prevalent these days. And I think it's great because then they don't have to worry about constantly printing headlights on there. This guy does come with the D10s. It is a relatively long casting. After all, the Karma was a big car in real life. All right, moving on to the very last one in the entire mix, the Mercedes-Benz SL63. I'm a Porsche guy. I'm always biased, you know. But in this particular case, I think this one is the best of the entire batch. This one debuted last year in blue. It was also the first model to sport that new lace wheel. We will see that wheel on other models, so it's not going to be exclusive to the Mercedes, although it has been thus far. This one does have full prints on the front and rear. I think the prints on the front look especially good, very crisp in that grille. The interior looks pretty good on this one. Of course, the wheels just really make this casting pop. They're such a good basic wheel. I really feel like that wheel is going to be extremely popular through the rest of this year and into 2025. We will see that wheel on a lot of castings, in my opinion. But that one is especially nice. This particular version is especially nice. I really like this one a lot. So we're going to roll out with that one. That is the end of the batch. Again, if you find this in the wild, you might be lucky enough to get that BMW 3 Series wagon. Unfortunately, I don't have one to showcase for you guys. I do apologize about that. But we're going to move on. We got more batches coming down the pipeline as the year rolls out. And I appreciate every single one of you guys. Catch you next time here on Level M. Peace.